Ladies and gentlemen, we always look forward to this segment of Daybreak Live. It is Health Monday with the infamous Jared and Jacob from Marble City Pharmacy. And gentlemen, good morning to you.
Who's looking forward to this segment again?
At least two people somewhere out there.
Yeah. Well, y'all dress the part this morning. That's a good thing. Right. Vaccine update. You know, is it time to get flu shots again now, or is it too late?
Well, it's not too late.
No.
It is time to be talking about this, and we want to do it today because not only is it time to get flu shots, we now have the new COVID booster, which we'll get to in just a minute. There is a newer pneumococcal vaccine that we need to talk about, and there are some new recommendations for shingles. So there's all kind of things, all kind of moving parts in the vaccine world, so we got to get that today.
Let's talk first about the flu shot.
All right, yeah. So, and to kind of lump the two, for lack of a better term, more seasonal ones together, flu and COVID, whereas the other two we'll talk about later are kind of more permanent. The flu shot, again, the CDC recommends getting one every year. They're out and available now. You know, they say September, October is the best 2-month period to get them. Mm-hmm. We're into that time. They're at the store. They're available, regular dose, high dose, all day, every day when we're open for flu shots. And so just wanted to get that word out there this morning. There's not much more to say than that, in that it's time, they're here, they're available, come get them. And then people have been calling and asking constantly for the last couple of weeks now about the promised new COVID booster. You know, it's some of the same strains as the original one, and then some newer strains that have been circulating after that fact. Mm-hmm. It came in, I guess, last week. I can't remember when now, last week. And so they're available now as well. We do COVID shots every Tuesday and Thursday. So they're there all day on Tuesdays and Thursdays, and they're available now. People have been asking us about that.
Like with the COVID and flu shots, can you get them at the same time? Or you need, okay.
Absolutely. Yeah, you can get them at the same time. In fact, and as we get into some more of this, you can get all these vaccines at the same time, quite frankly. Now, you may not want 4 in the same day, and I can't blame you.
Let me raise my hand and say I don't.
You're not going to want 4 in the same day, but we can talk about spreading those out over a course of maybe a couple of weeks. No reason you couldn't do 2 at one time, another 2 a couple of weeks later, if it's time for you to get all 4.
Well, sure. Let's talk more in depth about this new COVID vaccine that is available. Are people kind of wanting this or not?
Well, we've had a ton of calls about it, so I'd say the answer to that is yes, at least for some people. The original COVID vaccine was against the one original strain, right? And so we've been giving the same COVID shot for the original shot and the same COVID shot for the booster for what? Maybe a year and a half to 2 years now. So this is the first update. You know, I guess in a similar way that the flu shot is updated every year, the goal is probably to update this COVID vaccine going forward. So the original one had 1 strain. This one has 2 strains. It's called the bivalent, I think, COVID booster. So it can only be used as a booster. Let me be clear about that. If you are new to the COVID vaccine, you have to go back to the original, and then when it comes time for the booster, you would get the new. But if you've had the original round of COVID vaccines, you would use this new one as a booster. And if that's not confusing enough, just come in and let Jacob explain it.
Yeah, and I want to get to Jacob right now.
Let's get back to Jacob.
Some people had some adverse reaction to the COVID shots. Mm-hmm. Is this one that you might have some adverse reactions as well?
Yes. I can't even talk today. It's Jared's fault. The simple answer is yes. Now everybody handles it differently. You don't know who's going to struggle with it more than others, but it's the same vaccine science.
I had
technology.
chills when I took my vaccine.
You had chills when we walked in this morning.
I know, but it was a different kind of chill.
Right.
They got the air on about 42 this morning now.
It's the same science, same vaccine technology as the original one, same concept. And so, people who are having trouble with the first round will have side effects with this one as well, most likely. I mean, there's no way around that.
I remember when COVID vaccines first came out a couple of years ago. There wasn't much talk about flu vaccines back then. Not a lot of people get those.
Well, it's a great question. And honestly, it's beyond the scope of this program today, but is it COVID? Is it flu? Is it some mix of the two? Those are fantastic questions, so I better just leave that at that.
Yeah. All right. What other vaccines are available?
Well, we have right now. Let's start with the newest pneumococcal vaccine. All right. So I don't want to get bogged down in the details. There are multiple pneumococcal pneumonia vaccines, right? And so the newest one is called Prevnar 20. And so when you look at the latest recommendations for pneumococcal vaccine, Prevnar 20 covers 7 more strains than the next newest pneumococcal vaccine, right? So if you just think about it, there's 13 strains covered in the old one of pneumonia. There are 20 strains covered of pneumonia in the new one. So it just makes sense that you would get the new one. So here's what the recommendations say. If you're over age 65, you need to get the Prevnar 20, period, right? If you're under age 65 and you have certain medical conditions, you need to get the Prevnar 20. So it is newer, it is updated, it provides more coverage. Basically, this vaccine is going to be for most of our viewers, quite frankly.
Okay. Jacob, what else?
Shingles vaccine. We do a lot of shingles vaccine, get a lot of questions about it. I'll tell you when we get questions about it, when somebody comes in and go, my spouse right now is in complete misery with shingles. I don't want to go through that. I'm watching my spouse go through that. Can I get a shingles vaccine? So whenever someone is reminded of it by a spouse, family member, loved one, they think, I need to ask about that. So we will remind you for you before someone in your house gets it. Shingles is awful. We have a very effective vaccine against it called Shingrix. It's a 2-shot series. And the reason we want to bring it up today is there have been some updates to the recommendations. Originally, it was if you're 50 years old and up, you need to get a shingles vaccine. They've just simply updated that to if you're 50 years old or up, or if you're an adult, 18 years old and up, and have conditions that make your immune system a little less, we're also recommending shingles vaccines for you, says the CDC. And so just wanted to bring that up today. Shingles vaccines are a big deal because shingles is so awful and the vaccine itself is an effective vaccine. It's just been broadened as to who is eligible for it.
You know, you mentioned the gentleman wanted to know if he could get a shingles vaccine because he'd seen his wife struggle with. I actually had a guy, this friend of mine, who had shingles. He told me, he said, I thought considered suicide. He said it was awful. Shingles.
Yeah, it's bad. And this is a vaccine that is effective. It's a vaccine that seems like what you would want to do to protect yourself against shingles. We bring this up at this time because this time of year is the perfect time every year to evaluate where you are as far as your vaccine status goes. So come in for your flu shot, but when you come in for your flu shot, ask us, before we stick the needle in your arm, let's talk about everything else that you might be interested in, okay? If you're interested in a COVID booster, make sure you come to get your flu shot on a Tuesday or a Thursday, all right? But as we're having these conversations, let us look at your record. Is it time for you to get a pneumococcal pneumonia vaccine? If so, we're going to need to give you the newest one, the Prevnar 20. And then what about shingles? If you haven't had it, if you're interested, let's talk about those things and let's make a plan for a schedule to get it done.
Now, does insurance cover these vaccines or how does that work?
Yes, and well, from behind the scenes, it's much more complicated than we'll make it for in front of the scenes today. The answer in general is yes. Your flu shot, your COVID shot, your pneumonia shot, for the vast majority of people are going to be free.
Okay.
The shingles shot is handled a little differently. It generally has a copay just like a prescription drug would on most people's insurance. And so people end up paying a copay on shingles. It, of course, varies from person to person and insurance plan to insurance plan. But the general answer is you can pretty much expect flu, pneumonia, and COVID to be free for almost everybody, and shingles to have a copay for most everybody.
And we're coming in to that season where you get a lot of flu and a lot of pneumonia and stuff like that, so better be safe than sorry, right?
No doubt. September, October, time to get the flu shot. So we're literally right into that time. And then flu season traditionally has run all the way until March. So you want to do it now or in October. But if you forget, if something prevents you from doing it, get it all the way up until February or so. We'll be giving them for a while.
As long as supplies last.
While supplies last. At your favorite pharmacy, that's Marble City Pharmacy.
That's right.
What about the remodel? How's that going?
Well, from our perspective, it's going good. But when you're the one who's getting something remodeled, it's never going fast enough. I wanted it done 6 weeks ago, even though we just started about then.
That's what Don said.
Right, that's right.
Yeah.
Right. We want it done, and we want it done now. It's on schedule. It's going very well. If you even walk past and look in the windows, you can see the sheetrock is up. You can tell this is what it's going to look like. I think they're on schedule for painters maybe even this week, or if not this week, next week. So it'll be painted. You'll be able to look in the windows and get a pretty good idea of what it's going to look like within the next week or so. So we're getting there.
Are we targeting a particular time to get this done?
We're targeting yesterday.
There is a date at which I'm going to have a heart attack if this renovation is not done. So Don Hardy, if you're listening, all right.
Oh, he watches this show.
All right, Don.
If it's not done by November the 1st, I'm going to be in the hospital. Okay.
Well,
We're getting there, though. Honestly, it'll probably be finished sometime in mid-October for us to move our stuff in. We're looking at hopefully November the 1st.
and we're getting a new drive-through, which we've never had before.
Did you see the window? It's already
yeah,
there.
it's cool,
Looking
man.
good. They're about to restrap the parking lot.
I drove through there just to see practice, Well, nobody in there, but
You went scraped up against the bricks on the wall there, and we saw some marks.
Okay, they're going to restrap the parking lot, and the awning is not going to have any attachment to the ground, so people like you can't knock the post over. Yeah,
right.
that's right.
all right. Hey, thank you both for coming this morning. Vaccine update with Jared and Jacob from Marble City Pharmacy. Help Monday here on Daybreak Live. More after this.